in the last few minutes that Novak Djokovic has been rearrested, and that is according to a Serbian journalist who has just spoken to his father. It's not been independently confirmed yet.
But it's been widely reported around the planet.
Well, here we go. Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
Significant police presence at the office of his lawyers in Melbourne. This is according to Oliver Brown at The Telegraph. White vans heading into the underground car park. Reports that Australian Federal Police heading in to arrest him. Apparently, the immigration minister has 4 hours in which to re-cancel his visa. Australian government, of course, furious about the fact that the cancelling of his original visa was overturned by a judge within the last couple of hours.
This is extraordinary. We were reporting less than 2 hours ago that he was going to be sprung on the order of the judge this morning, in our time, in exactly 30 minutes. Well, let's try and sort of draw breath with the 18-time Grand Slam winner, Martina Navratilova. What do you make of this? It's hard to keep up, isn't it? I mean, if it's true that he has been rearrested, what's your feeling about this? What's your feeling about the story?
First,
go on.
Yeah, I have to say hello to Lorraine. Where have you been? I mean, really? I'm in my pajamas, but I'm also married. It's head-spinning stuff, isn't it? I mean, first it was a snafu, and now it's FUBAR. We do know what snafu is. Do you know what FUBAR stands for?
We certainly do. We can't spell it out.
So we cannot spell it out. It's beyond belief, really. What a saga, and it all could have been avoided. I think it's just so many people messed up and took some things for granted. I just wish that Novak had taken that vaccination to begin with. You know, he's a great leader. He's an amazing athlete. Obviously, I admire him so much. I've defended him so many times, but I cannot defend the choice to not be vaccinated if you don't want that vaccine because you don't know, you don't believe it, whatever. You still, as I said, need to take one for the team. If you want to lead, you need to lead by example, and that example would be what's good for the greater good. Anyway, all of this could have been avoided, but here we are, and who knows where it'll all end up. It's just getting crazier by the minute.
So Martina, that's interesting. You feel then, as a championship tennis player, you feel that people like you and like him should rise above individuality and the freedom of choice of the individual and recognise that they have a broader duty to the public, let alone to their profession and their game. And you think that's where he's failed? He's failed to actually set an example.
I think so, because, you know, we're in such close contact in the locker rooms, and you obviously are raising the possibility of getting COVID. And also, if you get it, you can get really sick. So I was in line and I couldn't wait to get vaccinated. And I was really, really strict with my diet and regimen, all of that. I admire Novak. I know what it takes to be that committed. And I was in that boat 30 years ago. I would have been waiting in line 30 years ago. I was waiting in line this last year to get vaccinated. I would be much more scared of getting really sick from not being vaccinated than whatever side effects I may have from the vaccination, which, you know, billions of people are hoping to get vaccinated. They can't get the vaccination. And we have that problem here in the States as well. So many people choose not to have it.
But
so
point,
I
Martina,
think, yes,
sorry to
this is
interrupt.
such a selfish sport, but at the same time, you really need to be more aware of everybody else.
But of course, his exemption is because he's had it. You know, he tested positive on the 16th of December. So you may have an issue with him failing to be a role model for, you know, taking one for the team, as you say, and doing it not just for his health and for his community. But the fact of the matter is, if there is a medical exemption for those who have had it within a certain time frame, then this isn't any longer about his personal decisions. This is about Tennis Australia, about the Australian government. He seems to have become a bit of a pawn in a game here over the principle of vaccination.
No doubt Novak has become a pawn. With too many different factions. There's Victorian government, there's Australian government, there's Tennis Australia. And I think some people did not talk to each other, whatever. But the numbers don't quite add up for me. If he tested positive on the 16th, if you are planning to get double jabbed, there's 3 weeks in between, right? And he was already going to go and play in Sydney the week before. Originally, he was supposed to, I think, be coming to Australia right after New Year's. Yeah. So time-wise, this doesn't add up. If he was planning to get vaccinated, and then 3 weeks you have to be double jabbed before you can go in.
I completely agree with you.
It just doesn't make sense.
I completely agree. I was thinking that. It doesn't add up, does it, at all? The maths just don't make sense. Can I ask you another question? As someone who's travelled extensively playing the game as you have, the old expression, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And we all know how strict Australia has been from the outset of this pandemic. Really, really strict, internally and externally. Do you think it was either arrogant or naive of him not to get vaccinated before going to Australia? Because look where it's ended up.
Maybe a combination of both. You think you're indestructible, not necessarily arrogant, but indestructible, because you're in this amazing shape. He's one of the world's greatest athletes, so you think you're indestructible. But we know people have died getting it who were in amazing shape, marathoners and Ironmen, etc. So being in great shape doesn't mean that you're not going to get really sick. So I think he was just maybe a little cocky. I wouldn't say arrogant, but maybe naive, thinking he would be okay. That certainly they would not let him go in. And again, you'll see a picture of me there with Novak. I adore him. I think he's just such a consummate professional. And I don't understand it from my point of view. I would have been in line, like I said, to get vaccinated. Yeah. But I don't know what he was hoping for. If he didn't get this exemption, if he didn't get the positive test for COVID, how would he have gotten the exemption? Based on what?
Yeah.
That's what I don't quite get that part.
I think it would be naive of us to imagine that he didn't expect to have a fight over this. You know, that Australia were just going to take this medical exemption and allow it. And clearly, you know, his legal team have got the stomach for the fight. But I wonder, Martina, if it's true that he's been rearrested, possibly he could get deported. But if he's not and he has to go back to court and they re-establish that, yes, he followed the rules, the positive test means he is entitled to an exemption. He's only got a week or 9 days before he possibly plays his first match. I mean, what does this do to his state of mind? And then we know that the Australians are under these strict rules, so the fans are likely to be a little bit irate if he does eventually play. Is he, you know, how is he going to respond to that? It's not great prep, is it?
Well, it's a very divisive issue on an emotional level, of course, but Novak kind of thrives when people are not for him. He wants people to love him, but when they don't, he's like, oh, I'll show you. But this is not obviously ideal preparation. He's already lost 4 or 5 days now in detention. If this goes on, the emotionals, the energy that he spent on this, and mental and, of course, physically not being able to train, if he gets delayed any further, I think even if somehow they let him in, I just don't know how he can recover emotionally from this, because it's just sapping, right? And as an athlete, you want to save all that energy.
Exactly. And if he does make it through this legal morass and he does end up being released again and he does end up walking onto court, we were hearing earlier, as Susanna was saying, that 60% of Australian people, according to opinion polls, are furious with him and think he should be deported and he should never have been allowed even to land on Australian soil. He's going to get seriously booed. Now, that's happened before, but that's been in kind of to do with the sport. He's been booed, for example, when he played Roger Federer because the fans wanted Federer to win, so they booed him. But if he's booed when he walks onto the court before he's even served the ball because of a decision that he's taken about the vaccine on a very, very emotive, much more important subject, frankly, than tennis, surely that's going to affect his mood. I mean, you say he's very good at fighting back and saying, I'll show you. But being booed in the way he's likely to be booed if he does get to play is surely going to knock him off his form, isn't it?
It would be hard to deal with it, again, on an emotional level, because this is personal. And again, Australia has been so locked on the lockdown. And as you said, when in Rome, right? So these are Australian rules, and you just... you have to abide by that. You can't just think that you're above it. And we know how other people are treated when they're in the same boat. They're sent back. There is no doubt about it. And we see how many years some of these refugees and asylum seekers, maybe if there's nothing better that will come out of this, it'll be actually shining the light on immigration policies and all of that. So maybe something good will come of it in the long term. But for Novak, it'll be really hard to recover from this. From a personal viewpoint, because the fans are going to get on his case. And it's so divisive. There'll be people that will be defending him to the death, practically. And then there'll be people that will be really, really ticked off. So it's even more polarizing. He was already a polarizing figure, and now it's even more so. Yeah.
Martina, just to switch the subject for a moment, I understand you are in the current series of Real Housewives of Miami with your wife, Julia. And I just wonder whether that Lorraine moment, and we do call them the Lorraine moments, that might make the series. Are you filmed all the time?
No. I tried, if you know me, I run away from the cameras, so I do as little as possible. I'm there to support Julia, of course, and she wanted to do this, and she's having a blast doing it, living the glamorous life on the one hand and the farm life on the other, in galoshes and overall during the day, and then in her Louboutins and a fabulous dress at night. So I'm the housewife here because I'm the one doing the cooking and cleaning. But I'll do anything for her to help her out.
Well, listen, we're really grateful to you for joining us because it's an unearthly hour where you're speaking from. So we appreciate your time on this. Any predictions? I mean, what's your gut? Do you think? I mean, he's determined. He's got obviously very good lawyers. He's got the support of one judge. Do you think he'll make it?
I think it's still 50-50. I mean, if you got the federal government going at it, I don't know if you can wiggle out of that. I think once this judgment was done, I thought he was home free, but now it could be a false alarm or false reprieve. 50-50. I don't know. And if he gets to play, it's going to be really, really tough. This could be the hardest slam of them all. Never mind trying to go for the Grand Slam.
Martina, good to talk to you this morning. Thanks very much indeed.
Right. So, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Serbian journalist has spoken to Novak's brother, who says, a night without sleep for a whole family, really rough moments. Novak has shown he's persistent and he believes in his ideals. He won this fight for the whole world. It's an ideological fight, isn't it? The judge has made the right ruling, says his brother, based on facts. But we are receiving info. The minister is above the court. We will wait to hear the next step by the Australian government.